Jurassic Park was a great example of how a nascent scientific breakthrough enabled humans to do what was previously impossible: clone dinosaurs and create a living dinosaur theme park. Unfortunately, this all went horribly wrong as chaos was unleashed by a power outage, and then life and death safety concerns ensued as dinosaurs roamed freely, killing humans whilst the theme park's operations team scrambled to regain control. Harnessing the potential of AI is just like creating your very own Jurassic Park. AI is a powerful, exciting, and constantly evolving technology that has delivered monumental developments and advances in a very short space of time. But the reality is that use cases are still unclear. The technology is rapidly evolving, and clarity is sometimes drowned out by a drumbeat of hype. We're by no means experts or profess to know everything about AI or its full potential, and it's probably safe to say that no one really knows everything about AI, its full potential yet. So the purpose of this webinar today is to provide you with a window into the future by showing you some of the AI tools that are available today when it comes to optimizing how you plan and deliver business presentations. Before we get into today's session, for those of you who have not worked with us before, let me give you a very brief introduction to Arcadia Consulting. At Arcadia, we are the architects of change. We help our clients replace existing patterns of behavior with more productive mindsets, capabilities, and cultures. We specialize in the practice areas of communication, leadership, mindset, and sales, and we work with Fortune 100 enterprises around the globe to drive organizational, team, and individual performance. In today's webinar, we'll spend the next hour or so focusing on the following three topics. Firstly, we'll identify some considerations and risks to reflect on when using AI tools to build your presentations. Secondly, we'll revisit the traditional presentation planning process and explore where AI tools can help you drive the production of better quality content faster. And finally, we'll explore where AI tools can be incorporated into blending learning journeys to develop the habits that embed core presentation delivery skills like eye contact, vocal delivery, and gestures. Let's start with some considerations and risks that you need to think about when using AI. We'll bring these scenarios to life with some examples which may or may not be directly related to business presentations. However, they will perfectly illustrate what could go wrong when you use AI unchecked. Our first consideration is ethics. We need to always keep ethical considerations in mind when using AI, such as the potential for AI to propagate bias if the data it was trained on was biased. Excuse me. A recent example of bias was demonstrated by Google's chatbot Gemini, which allowed users to generate images of humans from different historical periods. Great in concept, however, some of these images included multiracial US founding fathers and people of color as soldiers in Nazi uniforms, which were highly offensive and very controversial depictions. The AI's attempt to ensure diversity in historical images backfired, resulting in historically inaccurate and very offensive content. Google ended up pausing the tool, acknowledging that the responses were biased and unacceptable. The incident highlighted the risks of relying too heavily on AI for very sensitive tasks. The next consideration is lack of context. AI might not fully understand the context or nuances of a specific business situation in the same way that an experienced human would. This can lead to inappropriate or irrelevant content being presented. As an example, delivery parcel service DPD closed its online chatbot after a customer reported in a post on X that it can be easily manipulated into swearing and criticizing the company as well as itself. Here's a sample of a somewhat inappropriate chatbot conversation. The next consideration is data privacy. AI tools often require access to data to function effectively. This can lead potentially into include sensitive business information, which, if not handled properly, can lead to privacy concerns or GDPR-type data breaches. Google recently faced a class action lawsuit for secretly stealing vast amounts of data from the web to train its AI technologies. The lawsuit alleged that Google violated copyright laws by using the data to train and develop its AI products. The lawsuit also contended that Google scraped personal and professional data, photos, and copyrighted works whilst building AI products. The lawsuit accuses Google of negligence, invasion of privacy, larceny, copyright infringement, and profiting from personal data that was illegally obtained. Next consideration is quality of output. The quality of the presentation content generated by an AI tool depends heavily on the quality of the data it was trained on. If the AI has been trained on poor quality data, the output may also be of poor quality. This is a not so subtle reminder of the classic garbage in, garbage out syndrome. Quality issues recently came to light when an AI-powered meal planner app created by the New Zealand-based supermarket Pack and Save, which recommended its customers a variety of somewhat disturbing recipes, including a way to manufacture chlorine gas. Along with a number of strange but ultimately benign suggestions, such as Oreo stir-fry, the app also recommended glue sandwiches, a rice dish with bleach, and bug spray potatoes. This scenario showcases the risks of AI systems trained with inadequate or harmful data. That brings us to our last consideration, disinformation. Given that AI-generated content can be easily produced at scale, it has the potential to significantly impact the spread of misinformation and disinformation. This is only exacerbated by the quality and sophistication of the output generated, which sometimes can be indistinguishable from human-generated content. Malicious actors can use AI tools to automate the generation of convincing and misleading content, which can then be used to covertly influence public opinion or sway elections. Recently, there have been incidents where supporters of Donald Trump created and shared AI-generated fake images of African-American voters, cozying up with him to encourage other African-American voters to vote Republican. This was an attempt to push a strategic narrative designed to show Mr. Trump as being extremely popular in the African-American community. Whilst we're on the subject of deepfakes, here's some food for thought that has absolutely nothing to do with business presentation. However, it profiles the power of AI technologies and what could be possible in the near future. Eternity, who you can see on the screen now, is an all-girl virtual K-pop band created by Pulse 9 in Korea. Deepfake AI technologies have brought to life a band of 11 virtual girls that the public originally chose from 101 fantasy faces. Whilst virtual artists won't replace the real thing yet, they do have some distinct advantages in that they don't age, they can sing, dance, and act, they aren't prone to risks and scandals, they can perform in multiple physical locations at the same time, and they aren't subject to the normal stress and pressure that world-famous artists have to deal with. That was just a bit of fun, but could we see a day when your next board presentation was delivered by an AI-generated CEO and virtual senior leadership team? Who knows? But it's definitely food for thought. In summary, there are a wide variety of considerations and risks when it comes to using AI tools to generate content for your presentations. However, the key takeaway here is that an over-reliance on AI tools can lead to a lack of human oversight and creativity. It's important to remember that AI is a tool to assist and augment, not replace human input. So if you're planning on using any AI tools to help you build content for business presentations, use them wisely and always, always validate any generated content for accuracy, content, and authenticity. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Robert, who will discuss our second topic of today's webinar.
Thank you, Len, and hello, everyone. That being said, in this section, I'm going to profile some AI tools that can be leveraged during the presentation planning process to create more engaging, more personalized, and data-driven presentations. But first, Let me start with this picture. Can anyone guess who this group of friendly people are? Feel free to share your answers in the chat. We have activated the chat, so feel free to use it. And invite you to check out the haircuts and outfits for cues. Who are these people? This is, in fact, the original PowerPoint development team at Microsoft. And as you know, PowerPoint was designed to facilitate visual demonstrations for group presentations in a business environment, which at the time was pretty revolutionary. So the question is, can AI-driven tools help us to create and rehearse presentations that are more relevant, more engaging, and that actually drive results? And the answer is yes, because most of these challenges can normally be distilled down to 1, lack of presentation planning, and 2, insufficient rehearsal. So the good news is presenting with impact is a skill. It can be learned. In fact, a lot is about common sense, but we know common sense is not common practice. And we've all been in a situation when you need to prepare for an important presentation, but you don't have a lot of time to prepare. So at Arcadia, we've developed a presentation planning model that we call the 9 steps. And we use this model in our presentation skills workshops to help delegates and to help them and make them more comfortable in delivering business presentations that are more relevant, more effective, more persuasive. So what I'm going to do is I'll go over each step quickly, and then I will profile some AI tools that can assist you in optimizing various steps of the planning process. So let's start with step number 1. As you prepare your presentation, you need to analyze who's going to be in the room, audience analysis. So ask yourself, who will be my audience? What's important to them? What is their preferred communication style? Never pitch to strangers. Every presentation should be customized for a specific audience in their own context. Step number 2, set your objective. Start with the end in mind. What is your desired outcome? What you're really trying to accomplish? A useful way to frame this up is by asking the question, by the end of my presentation, what do I want my audience to think, to feel, and to do? Step number 3 is about collecting the relevant information. What's the right amount of the right kind of information that would be relevant for your audience? What are the most important points that are going to resonate with your listener? What information do they need to know so that you can achieve your objective for them? Moving on to step number 4, it's about structuring the information that you uncovered in the previous step. And you want to make sure that there's a logical narrative, a story that has a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. It's easier said than done. Step number 5 is where you start to prepare your slides. That's when PowerPoint or Keynote can come in handy. You want to put together any visual aids that will support your objective. I want to highlight one more time that you are the most important visual aid that you'll ever have at a presentation. You create the impact. You connect with the audience at a human and more emotional level. That's not something that a slide deck can do for you. In step number 6, you edit, you read through all the content of the presentation from start to finish, and you ask yourself this critical question. Is this relevant to my audience? So what? What does it mean? Is it meaningful? And the mantra here should always be, if in doubt, check it out. As less is definitely more when it comes to building your presentations. So do this through the lens of, so what? So that's the first 6 steps. The next 3 steps help to prepare the delegates for the delivery of their presentation. And based on our more than 20 years of experience working with clients around the globe to help develop their presentation skills, we know that step number 7, the rehearsal piece, is the least performed step. It seems that most people simply wing it on the day. But if you're delivering a team presentation in particular, it's even more important to rehearse, as this will ensure a smooth and flawless transition or segue from one speaker to the next. Step number 8 is all about the delivery. This is show time. This is where you use your presentation delivery skills to connect with the audience, to persuade them, and to create memorable impact. And the 4 key delivery skills that you have at your disposal are eye contact, vocal delivery, gestures, and if you're physically in the room with your audience, movement. And last but not least, review. Review is all about continuous improvement, and it should be done as soon as possible after delivery of the presentation. And this is a short but powerful step that involves asking yourself 2 simple questions. What worked well? And what could be improved next time? So there you have it. 9 steps to planning a presentation in less time for more impact. So ask yourself about your own process. What's working for you? What's not working so well? Or about your team members. What are their own preferences? What are their pet peeves when it comes to important presentations? So let's now explore which steps could be improved with the aid of AI tools. So let me give you a few ideas as the comments are coming in the chat. When preparing step number 1 is audience analysis. There are lots of stakeholder questions that you need to answer and research to be conducted if you want to make sure that your presentation really hits the mark and provides everything that your audience needs. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't met your stakeholders before, how can you use AI to profile them? So we see in the chat, ChatGPT is one. You can use LinkedIn searches, you can use non-AI Google tools, and this will help you to create a decent profile and key insights for each of your audience members. You'll be able to learn about present job, past jobs, education, skills, and any other topics of interest that they may have posted about. But if you are in sales, in a sales role, or if you have people in your teams who are in sales roles, and you work for a large corporation, there's a high probability that you will have access to a LinkedIn Sales Navigator license. And this is what I think is really interesting from an AI tool perspective. If you're presenting to a new company that you haven't done business with before, you don't know them well enough, you would typically spend a significant amount of time before a high-stakes presentation doing lots of desk research, better understand the target company, the financials, the leadership team, and so on and so forth. And LinkedIn Sales Navigator recently released a new feature called Account IQ, which uses generative AI to synthesize key information to produce a concise report that includes core financials, strategic priorities, business challenges. In other words, you find out how they generate revenue, and you get also an estimate of current revenue estimates. You also get strategic priorities. You know, what is this company focused on? Where are they placing their energy and their business challenges? What are their critical strategic issues? What are their pain points? You also get lots of information on their key people. Who are their key executives? And what they call executive voices. This gives you an overview of what key executives are talking about via their LinkedIn posts. So you get a feel for what's top of mind for these leaders. Finally, you also get valuable information on 3 aspects, such as competitive landscape. What's the industry overview? Who are the key competitors? Workforce planning. You know, this gives you an overview of the parts of the organization that are experiencing the most headcount growth or decline, and then related news. What are the key news and key articles? So with a tool like LinkedIn Sales Navigator's Account IQ feature, you can produce a super smart summary of your target organization with all the relevant information and insights in just one place. And it's all available at the press of a button, thanks to generative AI. Some of you mentioned ChatGPT in the chat. Thank you for that. When gathering relevant information for step 3, a quick ChatGPT search using a carefully crafted prompt, and everything has to do with a prompt, as you know, can help you save significant amounts of time. And you can also use other tools like Claude or the Copilot functionality that has been integrated directly into Microsoft Edge. So again, for relevant information for step 3, this is the way to go. Now, have you ever had to give a high-stakes presentation, but you had no idea of where to start? Or how best to create a narrative that would truly capture your audience's attention? What's the narrative? What's the story you could be telling? We've all been there. So wouldn't it be great if you had a personal intern that could do the research and the heavy lifting for you? If this sounds like you, you're in luck. Because when it comes to step 4, the structure, one of our favorite AI generative PowerPoint tools is Tome. Tome generates a presentation structure, content, and also images based on a text prompt. Now, a word of caution. Is the generated presentation perfect? Is it 100% ready to present to your audience? Well, of course not. Just like you wouldn't present an intern's work unreviewed to a senior leader or a client, you also need to do the same with any AI-generated presentation decks. But this is an efficient way to augment your thoughts, your knowledge, the information you have to speed up the presentation development process. So let me show you what's possible with Tome. If you look at the left of your screen, this is the prompt. Techniques, at the bottom of the screen, sorry. Techniques and models to measure the ROI of L&D initiatives in the financial services industry. Okay, there you go. So click enter. And what you see next is on the right of your screen. In a matter of seconds, you get an agenda with a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. So far, so good. So click on the purple or the pink button, and let's generate the presentation. And here's what Tome produces. A title slide, relevant AI-generated images with not so great graphs, some garbled text, but hey, this is what you get. And then you also get some reasonable goals and objectives on L&D initiatives. Next, you also get a comprehensive capture of some key benefits and the impact on business performance. It gets better. You also get a detailed summation of core ROI models, including Kirkpatrick and balanced scorecard. You want more? Okay. You also get some useful case study formats that can be customized to your environment and to your context. And finally, it ends on a thorough summary of the key takeaways. So now you can take this starter content and you can adapt and evolve it for any audience, for any presentation objectives, and it saves you considerable time and effort. That's what your AI personal intern can do for you. And to end this piece, maybe you also need some video content for your presentation, right? Video is nice, it's very engaging, it's interactive in many ways, but I imagine you don't have the time or the budget for a production company, for a director to hire talent or for a custom shoot. Not a problem, as there is a generative AI tool for that as well. So the folks at OpenAI who brought you ChatGPT have created a spin-off company called Sora, S-O-R-A. And Sora generates full motion video from a text prompt, and it's seriously impressive. As always, the more descriptive the detail you feed into the AI, the more vivid and lifelike the AI-generated video will be. So here's an example of a prompt describing, in short, an SUV driving along a dirt road. As you notice, there's a lot of information, a lot of detail included in the prompt, but it's worth it because that's what you get after a few seconds. This is the video that the AI generated after a few seconds. That's pretty impressive stuff, if you ask me. And obviously, we're only scratching the surface of what's possible. So there are risks, but there are also opportunities, obviously. And we know that your content is only part of your presentation. You also need to deliver your presentation with confidence. So I'm going to turn over to Len now, who's going to take you through the steps 6 and 7 of preparing a presentation and the habits that we can embed at these steps through AI.
Thank you, Robert, and hi again. Thanks for that insightful overview of how to use the 9 steps model to rigorously plan your presentation and explore where AI tools can help to generate content along the way. In this next section of today's webinar, I'm going to build on Robert's discussion by providing an overview of some AI tools that you can use to speed up the presentation rehearsal process, which will then help you to present like a pro. By embedding some new presentation planning and rehearsal habits with the aid of AI tools, you'll be able to more efficiently deliver presentations that are relevant, effective, and effective. I'll focus on the following 2 topics. Firstly, we'll demystify how habits are formed and how we can use this knowledge to embed new presentation planning and delivery habits. And then we'll provide an overview of some AI presentation rehearsal tools to make your next high-stakes presentation really stand out and drive action. Before we get into the AI tools, let's do a fun little exercise on behavior change and habit formation, called arm fold. So I'd like you all to participate. So simple request, I'd like you to fold your arms. So we're all doing that. Now, you may notice that in my case, I've got my right arm over my left hand and my left hand is under my right hand. That's fine. You might be the other way around, or you might be like this. That's okay, but just look to see how your natural way of folding your arm is. Okay, now unfold your hands. Now I'd like you to fold your hands again, but in the unnatural way, the opposite to what you did before. How does that feel? Probably a bit uncomfortable, a bit unnatural. How much thought went into that? Probably quite a bit, even though it was a very simple exercise. But that's okay. All right, unfold. Fold again in the unnatural way. Unfold. Fold again in the unnatural way. Unfold. Fold again in the unnatural way. Hold that one. Now, how does this unnatural fold feel compared to the first unnatural fold? Probably still a bit uncomfortable, more comfortable than the first one, I imagine. How much thought went into that process this time compared to the first time? Probably a lot less. Well, congratulations, you've just learned a new skill, folding your arms in an unnatural way. Whilst it's not a terribly powerful or useful skill, the process you've just experienced is exactly the same for learning and embedding any new skill, regardless of that skill's complexity. From this exercise, you've experienced firsthand how embedding a skill to the point of unconscious competence, doing it automatically without thinking about it, only happens after practice and repetition. So let's explore the neuroscience behind how that works and how we can use this knowledge to learn and embed new habits when it comes to delivering more impactful presentations. Our brains are constantly looking for ways to save effort and resources. Did you know, fast fact, that our brains represent only 2% of our total body weight, but consume a massive 20% of the total energy our body uses? The brain is an energy-hungry powerhouse that's always on the lookout for autopilot-type shortcuts. And that's where habits come into the picture. Habit loops are typically comprised of 3 stages. There's a cue, there's a routine, and there is a reward. Think about when your phone dings as a WhatsApp message or an email arrives. That's a cue, a trigger. Our brains are wired to crave novelty and distraction. So on hearing the ding, we automatically reach for our phone and read the message or email. That's the routine or the behavior. We love the fact that that ding distracted us from filling out that boring weekly report because we constantly crave the dopamine hit that we get from reading our messages or receiving likes. That's our reward. Let's introduce you to a study conducted by Dr. Philippa Lally at University College London. She looked at the factors involved in creating and breaking habits in order to set up new patterns of behavior. The study looked at how long it took people to reach a limit of self-reported automaticity, that's performing an action automatically. And this was for an eating or an activity type behavior. 96 volunteers were required to perform a healthy eating, drinking, or exercise behavior daily in the same context for 12 weeks. This included behaviors such as eating a piece of fruit with lunch, or drinking a bottle of water with lunch, or running for 15 minutes before dinner, or meditating for 15 minutes immediately after waking up. The study uncovered that the median time to reach a point where the volunteers automatically performed the new behavior was actually 66 days, so bravo. So repetition is what creates the mental association between the cue, having lunch, and the routine, eating that piece of fruit. And after around 66 days, on average, this behavior no longer requires conscious thought, as you've embedded a cognitive script or a low energy consuming shortcut, and you've effectively put yourself on autopilot for that behavior. In short, repetition. And James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, sums this up ever so eloquently as he says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. So what habits can we embed when it comes to delivering powerful presentations? Based on our work with clients to help them develop their presentation skills, the battle is either won or lost well before you get up on your feet to deliver that presentation. It's in this preparation phase that AI tools can really help you embed new habits, resulting in exceptional performance. Let's look at this through the lens of a typical presentation skills blended learner journey. The journey could start with some form of communications event, like a face-to-face event or an email announcement that would set expectations, plus engage and excite the participants about the upcoming learning path. Prior to bringing the cohort together, there could be some self-improvement learning, some self-paced learning, in the form of e-learning modules, videos, or pre-reading, just to level set everybody on the core skills, concepts, and tools from the upcoming workshop. Online assessments could also be included to measure current levels of competence and identify any priority development areas. The next phase of the learner journey is a live, application-oriented, instructor-led workshop, which could be delivered face-to-face or virtually. The workshop is an opportune time to introduce an AI tool like Presenter or VR Bodyswaps, which we'll profile in more detail shortly, to give participants hands-on experience with optimizing how they plan and, more importantly, rehearse the delivery of their presentations. After the workshop, participants are encouraged to continue using the AI presentation tools and VR tools to practice and embed all of the skills they've learned in the presentation skills workshop. It's this fully immersive and psychologically safe presentation rehearsal environment that builds longer-term comfort and confidence with delivering presentations. After some times, the cohort could come together for a graduation event, share experiences and learnings, and celebrate completion of the formal part of the learner journey. It's important to remember that participants can continue using AI and VR tools from anywhere at any time to help them finesse any upcoming presentations. So let's explore these tools in a little bit more detail. Let's start with Presenter firstly. This is an AI-based presentation planning and rehearsal tool that we've been using with a number of clients to help them practice and embed presentation skills. And in this section, we'll give you a brief overview of its core functionality and the presentation delivery feedback available after you've recorded a presentation. You can access Presenter at any time from anywhere where you have a laptop and an internet connection. It's pretty simple to get started. You simply enter in your objective, what you want the audience to think, feel, do. You then enter details about your audience, who will be there, what's their communication style, what information do they need from you, and then finally the structure of your presentation. You'll be presented with a structure chart, a number of boxes, and you simply fill in the detail in each box as either a bullet point or a more detailed script. Once you've completed these steps, all the content is then presented on the one screen for you to review. And if you like, you can experience your presentation through the ears of your audience by having presenter read it back to you. This effectively automates step 6 of the 9 steps that Robert shared with you. Read through. You can then go into presentation recording mode, where a video window like an MS Teams or a Zoom screen pops up, and you deliver your presentation by looking into your laptop's camera and reading the content that's on the screen in your structure chart. Immediately after recording your presentation, the AI gets to work and produces a real-time feedback dashboard evaluating the quality of your eye contact, your vocal delivery, including pace, how often you use filler words like basically, and then finally feedback about the quality of the gestures that you were using. So that's presenter. Another embedding tool is VR Bodyswaps. It's an AI-driven virtual reality platform that allows you to practice presentation skills in a psychologically safe virtual environment. The way that Bodyswaps works is that you simply upload your presentation slides into the application, you put on your VR headset, and then deliver your presentation as an avatar to a virtual audience, as you can see in the video. This environment effectively simulates the range of emotions that you typically experience when presenting in front of a real-life audience. A unique aspect of the platform is that you can pivot to change perspectives, just like you can see in the video now. We've moved from presenter mode to audience mode, so you experience your presentation through the eyes of the audience and can better understand how your presentation is being received. Once you've completed delivering your presentation, the AI technology embedded within Bodyswaps will provide you with detailed feedback on your timing, your pace, your volume, intonation, hand gestures, and eye contact. So embedding tools like Presenter and Bodyswaps, and there are many more on the market, but we just wanted to give you a sample of what's available. These are intuitive to use. They allow you to work at your own pace, whenever you want, from wherever you want, and they boost confidence through the unlimited practice of presentation skills in an environment which is 100% judgment-free. All this adds up to better presentation outcomes faster. So if you want to present like a pro, you now have a wide variety of AI-driven tools to help you plan, generate content, and practice your presentations. Remember that your AI intern isn't perfect, nor does it have any human emotion, sensibilities, or metacognition. So please make sure that you always review and validate any AI-generated content to ensure that it's correct, relevant for your audience, and aligned with your presentation's objectives. To wrap up, key to delivering effective presentations in the AI era lies in acknowledging and mitigating the risks associated with AI-generated content. These risks, as we've shown, include things like ethical considerations, contextual appropriateness, data privacy, output quality, and potential disinformation. Once these factors are taken into account, it's crucial to incorporate the practices of meticulous planning and rehearsal using AI-powered tools such as Presenter and VR Bodyswaps into the presentation preparation process. And remember, when it comes to your next big presentation, you now have the power of AI in your hands. But, in the words of Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you.